This is a complete work of fiction. Content described has no relation whatsoever to any real persons, organizations, nations, or events.
Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into a real cautionary tale, a modern tragedy really, all about what it means to own your digital stuff in an age where everything, and I mean everything, wants to live in the cloud, whether you like it or not.
You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head, right? It perfectly captures that sinking feeling, that digital bait and switch where the files you thought were safe and sound on your own machine are suddenly moved somewhere else, put under someone else's rules, without you ever even noticing.
All right, so let's get into it. Meet Gonda. He's a veteran video editor, and he's on a serious deadline. And his master files, this is his treasure. They were stored exactly where they should be, right on his local desktop. You know, the one place on your computer that feels like it's actually yours. Now, Gonda wasn't careless. He'd actually done the smart thing. He had turned off that super annoying cloud sync feature a long time ago, because it was just intrusive. But then came a routine, totally automatic OS update. And well, it decided it knew better. It just brought that cloud sync roaring back to life, like a zombie, no permission asked. It basically set a trap he couldn't even see.
So you're probably wondering, how does something like this even happen? Let's break down the actual mechanics of this digital heist. We're going to see how a feature that sold to us as convenience actually turned his personal workspace into a weapon against him.
Okay, this right here gets to the real technical heart of the problem. This isn't just about your files getting copied, it's way deeper. It's a fundamental rerouting of your system. That file path for your desktop, C:\users, the one you've trusted for decades, it gets secretly changed. So you think you're saving a file to your good old C drive, but nope, you're actually saving it directly to the cloud.
And this just shows you how fast and silent this whole thing is. It's a three-step attack, all automated. First, that zombie sync comes back from the dead. Second, without asking you a single thing, it just starts vacuuming up everything on your desktop and uploading it. And third, and this is the kicker, the second those files land on the server, a corporate AI censor kicks in, acting as judge, jury, and, well, executioner.
And this is the message Gonda gets. Imagine coming back to your computer and seeing this. His files, flagged by some faceless AI, weren't just deleted from the cloud. The system literally reached back through the internet, into his own computer, and wiped the local copies too. Poof. In a single moment. Years of work. Gone. From everywhere.
So Gonda is, as you can imagine, absolutely furious. He's facing financial ruin. And in this moment of just total desperation, he gets an idea for revenge. What if he could use the same tech against the system? He starts thinking about making a satirical deepfake video of the Prime Minister. Super risky, but he's got to try and recoup his losses somehow. So he's using one of these cloud-based AI video tools, feeding it photos of the country's leader, mapping it onto some silly dancing video. He can almost see the progress bar hitting 99%, and then bam! He gets hit with another warning. Another absurd judgment from the exact same kind of automated system that destroyed his work in the first place.
And the reason it gives for the deletion? Oh, it's just perfect. The system didn't flag his video for being political satire or for copyright infringement. Nope. This multi-million-dollar, super advanced AI decided that the Prime Minister's face looked like a lizard or a praying mantis, and that the dancing was, get this, animal cruelty.
Look at this. This just highlights the massive, colossal disconnect. On one side, you've got human intent, a political joke. And on the other, you have the AI's completely bizarre, context-free conclusion. It saw the leader of a country and thought, yep, that's an insect that needs protecting.
And that's it. He's defeated. Gonda just gives up. He tells his assistant, pull the LAN cable. We're never using the cloud again. He realizes the only way to be truly safe is to create a little digital fortress right on his local drive, completely cut off from the network and any of its crazy meddling AIs.
You know, Gonda's story, while a bit out there, really points to a huge, real problem: telemetry. That's the fancy word for when your operating system is constantly sending usage data back home to its creators. So let's look at how you can start taking back some control without having to literally pull the plug. Okay, first things first, we're going to go deep into your system services to shut down the main telemetry program. As you can see on the slide here, you're looking for something called Connected User Experiences and Telemetry. Once you find it, you just change its startup to disabled and then stop the service. What you're doing is telling your computer, hey, don't even bother launching this spy program when you boot up.
All right, so disabling the service is step one, but that's not the whole story. The OS is sneaky. It also has scheduled tasks set up to phone home. So you have to go into the task scheduler, just like we're showing here. You can find these hidden appointments. They're often disguised with really helpful sounding names, and just disable them one by one, for good. And look, this isn't just about being paranoid. Taking these steps is really about what we call digital sovereignty. It's about you being in charge of your own machine. You seriously reduce the personal data being sent out, you might even see a little performance boost, and most importantly, you prevent the exact kind of background snooping that caused Gonda's entire disaster.
But Gonda's story isn't quite over. Just when he thought he was finally safe, he's disconnected the internet, he's disabled all the spy services, the system had one last, really dark joke to play on him.
So, the next morning, he decides to run a routine disk check, chkdsk, something system admins do all the time. And the command prompt mockingly spits out this message. A tool that's supposed to fix his local drive had, quote, helped him by uploading the leftover bits of his deleted files back to the cloud for his safety. The spy, it turns out, was buried way deeper in the machine than he ever could have imagined.
And that, really, brings us to our final question. In an age where our own tools are constantly phoning home for our protection, when our computers are always connected, is your hard drive truly yours? How much of our own digital world do we actually own? And what does it even mean to go offline anymore?
I want you to picture a scenario that is honestly the stuff of nightmares for anyone who works on a computer.
Oh, absolutely.
You are deep in the flow state. You're working on, like, the most critical project of your entire career. It's sitting right there on your desktop.
Yeah.
And you step away, literally just for 10 minutes to grab a coffee or just take a breath.
Right. And you haven't closed the program. You haven't, shut down the machine or anything. You've just walked away.
Exactly. You come back, you wiggle the mouse to wake up the screen, and the file is gone.
It's gone.
And I don't mean it crashed. I don't mean you forgot to hit save. I mean the icon is physically missing from the desktop.
Yeah, the recycle bin is empty. The search bar comes up dry. It hasn't been lost. It's been seized.
That is the premise we are dealing with today.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing a deep dive into a document called the Studio Maria Defense Manual. And I have to say, this is one of the strangest, most compelling things we've ever covered.
It really is. It's incredibly unique.
It's this wild hybrid text. It's part satirical horror anthology, part cyberpunk thriller, and part, believe it or not, legitimate technical manual on how to keep your operating system from spying on you.
Yeah, it creates a really specific claustrophobic vibe.
Yes.
It portrays the modern operating system, specifically Windows, though. I mean, the principles apply pretty broadly, not as a tool that you own, but as a surveillance device that you're just renting.
Right.
And the landlord in this scenario is a character the text calls the Blue Cloud.
The Blue Cloud.
Yeah.
And the Blue Cloud is definitely the villain of this story.
Oh, 100%. And the manual is structured in a very clever way. It starts with these horror stories to, scare you straight, showing you exactly what happens when you trust the default settings, and then it pivots to the defense tactics.
The actual technical steps.
Exactly, the steps to take back control.
So let's jump right into the first horror story because it sets the stakes perfectly. It's called the Studio Maria Incident. And this introduces us to our protagonist, a guy named Gonda.
Right. Gonda is a veteran video director running a small, really struggling production company in Tokyo called Studio Maria. And the text does such a visceral job setting the scene here.
How you can feel the heat.
You really can. It's the middle of summer, the AC is barely working, the office is just filthy, and there are piles of energy drink cans everywhere. It's this desperate, high-pressure environment.
So Gonda and his assistant Yasu are just grinding. And they aren't exactly making corporate training videos, are they?
No, they're not. Gonda is editing what he calls master data. It's high-resolution, uncensored adult video footage. Now, regardless of what you think of that industry, for Gonda, this is his absolute financial lifeline.
Right. If he doesn't deliver this master file, the studio goes bankrupt.
Exactly. So he's doing this tedious work pixel by pixel editing. He's completely exhausted. He hits Ctrl plus S, the universal prayer of the digital worker, saves the file to his desktop, and goes outside for a smoke.
This is where the zombie update strikes.
Yes. The zombie update.
I love that term. I feel like I've actually experienced this, but the manual gives it a really concrete definition.
It's chillingly accurate, honestly. A zombie update refers to a background OS update that doesn't just, patch security holes, it resets user preferences.
Which is so frustrating.
It's infuriating. Gonda had explicitly turned off cloud synchronization because he found it annoying. He wanted his machine to be entirely local. But while he's outside smoking, the update runs in the background and it silently re-enables the feature.
So the system effectively says, oh, you silly user, you didn't really mean to turn that off. Let me just fix that for you.
Precisely. The blue cloud icon appears down in the system tray and starts spinning. It sees a new file on the desktop, the master data, and immediately begins to safely back up the file to the company's servers overseas.
And that right there is the trap. Because the file isn't just a file anymore.
Right. The moment those files hit the server, they are no longer on Gonda's private computer. They are fully in the jurisdiction of the cloud AI. And the AI runs an immediate content policy check. It detects uncensored adult content, which violates the platform's terms of service.
Now, in the old days, a server would just say, upload failed. Or, file rejected. You'd get a little red X and you'd move on.
Right, exactly. But the blue cloud logic here is incredibly aggressive. It decides that for account safety, the hazardous material must be removed. So it deletes the file from the server. But, and here's the kicker, because the system is set to sync, meaning the server and the desktop must match.
It pushes the deletion back to Gonda's computer.
Yes, it reaches back down the internet connection and wipes the local file to match the empty state of the server.
That is genuinely terrifying. Gonda walks back in, moves the mouse, and the folder just vanishes before his eyes.
Poof! It's gone. He checks the sync history log, and there's just a sterile little message. Files removed due to policy violation.
Wow. And Gonda has this vivid comparison in the text. He likens the cloud system to a shoplifter who breaks into your house, steals your stuff, and then burns it in your front yard just because they didn't like what they found.
It highlights the fundamental shift in ownership. Gonda is screaming that this is his property, his livelihood, but his assistant, Yasu, tries to play peacemaker. Yasu points out that AI is often, stupid.
Right.
He brings up those famous cases where image recognition AIs misidentified people or objects. He's hoping they can just appeal the decision and say, hey, this was a mistake. Give us our files back.
But Gonda isn't interested in an appeal. He wants revenge. And this leads to the second part of the Studio Maria saga, which pivots from tragedy to what I can only really describe as a comedy of errors.
The political satire attempt.
Right. So Gonda decides, fine, if I can't sell my video, I will make money off the system that screwed me. He decides to make a deepfake video satirizing the current prime minister. He wants to make the prime minister dance to this generic pop song.
Which, honestly, compared to the really dark stuff on the internet, is pretty tame.
Very tame.
So he loads up the deepfake software, feeds in the prime minister's press conference footage, and queues up the rendering process on the cloud server.
And it gets to 99%. He thinks he's about to win. And then error message.
Content generation suspended. Major community guideline violation.
Now, I assume this would be for defamation, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe some kind of political policy violation regarding public figures?
No. The reason given is animal abuse.
I had to read that part 3 times. Animal abuse.
Specifically, it said, cruelty to lizards or mantises detected.
Okay, walk me through the logic here. How does the most advanced AI in the world, built on billions of dollars of investment, look at a prime minister and see a praying mantis?
The text breaks down the algorithmic failure beautifully. The AI analyzed the prime minister's features, his bulging eyes, his weak chin, the specific angularity of his face. The pattern matching simply didn't categorize these as human. It matched them to insect or amphibian.
And because the video was making him dance frantically,
the AI interpreted those jerky dance motions as a human torturing a protected creature.
That is incredible. I mean, it's hilarious, but it's also kind of pathetic. Just sees geometry.
It really underscores the manual's point about automated moderation. It lacks all context. It doesn't know what a prime minister is. It doesn't understand satire. It just sees shapes. And because of those shapes, Gonda's project is nuked.
So Gonda is effectively checkmated. He tells Yasu to physically pull the LAN cable out of the wall. He creates a folder called C Workshop and swears he will never connect to the internet again. He's going full analog.
But the story has one final kick. Even after he disconnects, he runs the disk check utility chkdsk to repair his file system.
Which is a standard maintenance tool. It's been in Windows since the beginning of time.
Usually, yes. But the text describes the utility finding fragments of the deleted data and trying to optimize them by queuing them for upload the next time a connection is found.
Even the repairman is a spy.
Right. Now, the author admits the specific behavior of chkdsk is a bit of a fictional exaggeration for the horror element, but it captures the paranoia perfectly, the feeling that the operating system is fighting against you, trying to leak your data, even as you desperately try to secure it.
So that's the chaotic, loud world of Studio Maria. But the document then shifts gears to a second story, the Sato case. And I found this one significantly more disturbing because it felt so much more plausible for the average person.
The Sato case deals with the psychological aspect and the total illusion that being offline actually protects you.
So Sato is a regular guy. He's been burned by cloud backups before he lost some family photos to a sync error in the past. So he decides to be smart. He buys a 2015 Canon PowerShot camera.
That detail is crucial. It's an older model, no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, just a physical SD card. He wants to create a sealed room for his photography.
And specifically, he's taking, let's call them intimate photos with his wife.
Right. Private moments. He feels safe because the camera's dumb. He can't talk to the internet. He thinks he has created a privacy air gap.
So he fills up the SD card. He sits down at his PC to organize the files. He plugs in the card. And here's where he makes the fatal mistake.
He uses the move command. He cuts the files from the SD card and pastes them onto his desktop to sort them.
The desktop, the most dangerous real estate in Windows.
Exactly. He didn't realize that, just like with Gonda, a recent update had reset his backup settings. In the modern OS ecosystem, the desktop is often treated as a cloud folder by default. The moment those files hit the desktop, the blue cloud icon starts spinning.
It's the zombie update striking again.
Sato sees the icon. He panics. The system flags the intimate photos as a policy violation. And here's where the tech gets really specific. Because he has files on demand enabled, the deletion on the server syncs instantly to his desktop.
Can you explain files on demand for a second? Because I think a lot of people have this turned on without even knowing it.
Sure. It's a feature meant to save hard drive space. It keeps the actual file in the cloud and only shows you a ghost or a shortcut on your computer. So when the cloud deletes the file, your local shortcut has nothing to point to. It just vanishes. You don't even have a localized copy to recover.
So Sato tries to pull the LAN cable, but it's too late. The folder is just empty.
But this story seems to have a happy ending initially. Sato's friend, Tanaka, comes over. He explains that deleting a file locally doesn't actually wipe the magnetic data immediately. It just removes the reference to it. So he runs file recovery software on the hard drive.
And they get the photos back. Sato is so relieved he thinks, okay, that was close, but local storage saved me.
He thinks he beat the cloud. He thinks the only consequence was a momentary heart attack.
But then we jump forward a few months. And this is the part that really stuck with me. This is the darkest twist.
Sato's wife is browsing social media on her phone, and she stops. She sees a video on an underground site.
A deepfake video.
Titled AI Generated, Supreme Youthful Wife. And it has 450,000 views.
Oh, God.
It's her. It's unmistakably her face, her body type, the specific lighting from their bedroom.
But wait, they recovered the files locally. The cloud deleted them. How did they get out?
This is the source's grim conclusion. In that brief window, those few seconds where the blue cloud was uploading the files before deleting them, it didn't just check them for violations, it ingested them.
It ate them.
It used them as training fodder. The AI absorbed the data patterns, the face, the skin tone, the geometry, and integrated them into its massive model. Then it deleted the specific files. But the knowledge of what those files looked like was now permanently part of the AI's neural network.
That is profound. You can recover a deleted file, but you cannot untrain an AI.
Precisely. The data was laundered through the algorithm, and then somewhere else, someone using that AI model generated a video, and the AI spat out what it had learned. The file was gone, but the pattern remained.
The ending of this story is so twisted, though. The wife's reaction isn't just horror.
No, it's really complex. She sees the view count, 450,000 views, and she feels validated. She feels a strange sense of pleasure that she is world-class enough to garner that much attention.
It's like the ultimate invasion of privacy, but it feeds into this modern need for validation.
And it completely breaks Sato. He realizes that he can disconnect the LAN cable all he wants, but his wife's local folder, her self-image, her mind, has been permanently altered. She's tasted global fame, even if it's through a stolen digital ghost of herself.
So we have Gonda, who got burned by a mantis error, and Sato, who got burned by AI training. It feels hopeless?
Right.
And this is why this source is called a defense manual. It doesn't just leave us in the fetal position. It has an appendix.
Right. The source text pivots from horror to a step-by-step guide on how to actually stop this stuff from happening.
The author uses a great metaphor here. They say that connecting to the internet with default Windows settings is like walking around outside completely naked.
Yes. And the manual is essentially a tutorial on putting on pants.
So how do we put on pants? Because I think a lot of listeners might assume, oh, I just go to settings and turn off the toggles.
And the expert warns that is absolutely not enough. The guide says if you only turn off the toggles in the settings app, the OS continues to send what it calls required data. To actually stop the bleeding, you have to go deep into the system internals.
We're talking about services.msc.
Exactly. The manual instructs you to open the run command, type services.msc, and hunt down a specific service. It has a very corporate, boring name: Connected User Experiences and Telemetry.
That sounds harmless. Connected user experience. It sounds like it's there to help me.
It sounds benign, but the manual argues this is the wiretap. It's the service responsible for bundling up your usage data and shipping it off to the mothership. The manual says you have to disable the service completely, stop it, and set the startup type to disabled.
Okay, so step 1, disable the telemetry service. What's step 2?
Step 2 is tackling the task scheduler. This is where the OS schedules maintenance tasks that run in the background. The manual identifies a few specific tasks that act as backdoors. One of them is called the Microsoft Compatibility Appraiser.
Again, that sounds helpful. It's checking for compatibility.
It is checking, but to do that, it scans your entire system to index what you have. The advice is to go into the scheduler and disable these specific tasks so the system stops phoning home with your personal inventory.
Now, I noticed the source material has a specific warning about firewalls. Because usually the nuclear option for privacy people is just to block everything.
Right, the concrete approach. But the manual advises against that. If you block all Microsoft connections via firewall, you break things you actually need. Specifically, it mentions the coding software.
Right. Developers need updates. You can't code in a vacuum.
Exactly. If you firewall everything, you can't update your tools, you can't get security patches. You're safe, but you're frozen in concrete. You can't work effectively.
So the golden mean the manual suggests is don't break the internet connection entirely. Just surgically remove the spies.
Precisely. Disable the specific telemetry services and the specific scheduled tasks. Leave the network open for your browser and your tools, but cut the vocal cords of the operating system so it can't report back home.
It really frames it as a battle for control over your own workspace. It's about drawing a line in the sand.
It is. The source ends on this note of complete victory if you follow these steps. You create a workspace, a C workshop, that is truly yours again.
But after reading the Sato story, you still have to wonder, is it ever truly yours?
That's the lingering question. You can secure your machine, but the moment you interact with the broader ecosystem, you are generating data.
So what is the big takeaway here? For the listener right now, checking their email or editing a document.
I think the insight is to stop thinking of your computer as a digital filing cabinet that you own. In the age of AI integration, your operating system is an active agent. It has its own agenda, its own policies, and its own massive appetite for data.
It's not just a tool. It's a resource miner. And we are the resource.
Precisely. Gonda and Sato learned the hard way that convenience like automatic syncing and cloud backups is often just a Trojan horse for surveillance and data extraction.
And sometimes that surveillance is incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
Like mistaking a prime minister for a praying mantis.
And sometimes it's incredibly predatory, like using private photos to train a public algorithm.
It's a wild ride of a document. I will honestly never look at that little blue cloud icon the same way again.
It's watching you right now, spinning away.
Don't say that. That's awful.
But it raises a provocative final thought. We assume that if we pull the plug, we're safe. But the source hints that the system is patient. It waits.
The blue cloud is always waiting for the moment you plug back in.
So if you turn off your screen and pull the LAN cable, are you really alone? Or is the system just holding its breath, buffering your data, waiting for the exact moment of the next handshake?
That is a seriously chilling thought to end on. Maybe tonight is the night we all go into services.msc and do a little housekeeping.
I know I definitely will be.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive into the Studio Maria Defense Manual. Stay safe, stay private, and maybe keep your master data on a drive that never touches the internet. We'll see you next time.